All right, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles, great millstone, rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. I'm Zahar, Spirit, Wind, Judah of the GMS Mississippi camp. And today I want to go into a lesson entitled, Israel was supposed to be a nation of purity. All right, Israel was supposed to be a nation of purity. All right, because we're supposed to be a direct reflection of our Maker, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. We're supposed to be made in the likeness of His image. All right, as a nation of people, started from the so-called Negroes, which is the tribe of Judah, all the way down to the northern kingdom. All right, the kingdom of Ephraim. All right, the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. Okay. But collectively, we're supposed to make up the face, all right, of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so with that, I'm going to open it up with 1 Peter 2:9. And ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. All right, but it says that you are a chosen generation. So even in 1 Peter 2:9, all right, Peter, all right, is talking to, all right, the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. That's just to speak on vocab alone. Let me see if I can get there right quick. All right. See if I can get there because I believe this particular scripture, all right, is in Peter. All right. And this is in the same book, 1 Peter 1:1. Peter, an apostle of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, Bithynia, all right, elect according to the foreknowledge of Yahweh the Father through sanctification of the Spirit unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Grace unto you and peace be multiplied. But who are the strangers? All right, and I'm not going to let this lesson, segue unless the Spirit wants me to, but I'm not intending for this lesson to segue into who this people are. All right, because the point is pretty much that when it says that you're a holy generation, a royal priesthood in the New Testament, all right, written by Peter, these are the same people who are called strangers, all right, because we're strangers in another nation. All right, back then we were victims of the diaspora. All right, started with the southern kingdom, and when the Babylonians took over the southern kingdom, and we were dispersed to the other nations. All right, so that's why we were called strangers in these Greco-Roman states, man. All right, Greco-Roman provinces, man. All right, but I'm just going to go back to what's that? 1 Peter 2:9. All right, it says, all right, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. So the Most High instituted laws are to keep us in a state of holiness, all right, a state of purity, man, all right? Because there was going to be a great distinction between us and the nations around us in whom we took their land. And the Most High was making a great hedge, all right, a great distinction between us and those Canaanites, all right, those Hamites, all right, because they had horrible customs, man. All right. So the Most High was making sure that He was severing us from these other nations. All right. And, we should factor that in today's time. All right. Our actions and, being severed from the spirit and the energy of Babylon, man. All right. Or ultimately the spirit and energy of Egypt, modern day Egypt. All right. Because our forefather once literally fled from Egypt, but now we're spiritually fleeing from Egypt. That's why the scripture says what? Flee out of the midst of Egypt. So I'm just going to get this website I was looking up. All right. It says God's laws on hygiene were ahead of their time. And it goes into certain scriptures in which the Most High had laws on how we took care of ourselves. Like Leviticus 15 goes into bathing. Then it goes into Deuteronomy, the 23rd chapter, where it tells you how when you defecate, you really got to go outside and bury your feces. All right. But why were those laws written? Because Ham was not doing that, man. Or even, me talking to people who had gone to certain countries, such as Africa, they'll tell you in certain rural areas, they still go out there and defecate outside, man. All right. So you defecate outside, but you bury your dung. Okay. It says, and these are just bullets from the scriptures. It says people who were thought to have a communicable disease were quarantined, kept away from others for a time before returning. Those who recovered from sickness had to wash their garments and bathe in water if they were to be considered clean. Anyone who touched a dead body was quarantined. Right, and it has the scripture Leviticus 5:2. You can look that up on your own time. And this is some of the points that I wanted to make, which sheds light on why the Most High gave us certain laws to separate us from the people who are around about us. All right, it says Israel's laws reflected medical concepts and views on sanitation that were far ahead of their time. Elsewhere, primitive standards of hygiene were prevalent. For an example, waste was deposited in streets, polluted water, contaminated food, and other kinds of refuse created unsanitary conditions that contributed to a high rate of disease and infant mortality. So this is the more likely the Hamites and the Canaanites, or they had unsanitary conditions, man. Polluted water, contaminated food, all right? Ancient medical doctors had little or no knowledge of germs and pathogens. Egyptians used such remedies as lizard blood, pelican dung, dead mice, urine, and moldy bread. Human as well as animal excrement was also commonly used in their medical procedures. That sounds like America. All right. The ancient Egyptians picked up a variety of parasites from the contaminated waters of the Nile River and its irrigation canals. Likewise, many infants in Egypt died of diarrhea and similar disorders caused by contaminated food. The Israelites, on the other hand, benefited and remained comparatively healthy by following the standards set out in Yahweh's laws. All right, so the Most High has all types of our laws ultimately to make us a nation of purity. We were supposed to be his brand, all right, on the planet Earth, all right, that was supposed to be a reflection of him, all right? So let me get the precept proving that, all right? Let me get the precept proving that, the Most High, he had a higher standard for us than we had towards the other nations, all right? And as you can see, going back to 1 Peter's, all right, the first chapter, all right, he still was talking to us distinctly from the other nations, all right? So let me see if I can get that in Deuteronomy, all right, 14 and 21, just to show you that the Most High served us, all right, separated us from other people and held us and still holds us to a higher standard, all right? This is Deuteronomy 14 and 21. You should not eat of anything that died of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien. So you can't eat food like you got people that they'll get roadkill and eat it. All right, animals found dead and you eat it. We're not supposed to do that. All right, but the Most High said you could give it to a heathen. Okay, all right, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people. Holy basically means pure. It means like consecrated, separated, man. All right, pure unto Yahweh thy power. Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk, meaning you're not supposed to get a goat while it's nursing or a sheep while it's nursing, all right? Or even like a calf while it's nursing, okay? But you're not supposed to eat it, in other words. But the point was, we're not supposed to eat meat that dieth of itself, but it also goes on to say you give it to a heathen. All right, just how it says in the scriptures that you're not supposed to take usury upon your brethren, but you can do that to the heathen, man. All right, when the scriptures talk about the other nations, that reminds me of bottom feeders. Like in the ocean and on the planet Earth, you have bottom feeders, man. They basically eat the leftover from the earth. So if an animal dies, all right, they're the scavengers, all right? And that system of scavengers, all right, keeps waste from accumulating on the planet Earth, whether on Earth and in the sea. And it seems like even when it comes to nations of people, all right, the heathens, they're like scavengers, man. But now during slavery, because of the transgressions of our fathers, all right, we took on the not only swine, but the leftover swine, the pig intestines, man. All right? But I'm saying that to just, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, shed light on the Most High's intention with our people, which was to make us a nation of holiness, man. All right? And I'm going to end it with this, Leviticus 20 and 26, it says, and you shall be holy unto me, for I am Yahweh am holy. So like, for I, Yahweh, am holy, and have served you from other people, that you should be mine. Let me look up that word servant. All right. Let me look up that word servant right quick. It's a server. Server. Definitely. Get that out the Merriam's dictionary. It says to sever. All right. It says to put or keep apart. All right. To remove. All right. To become separated. So the Most High was separating us from the heathen. All right. From the Ham and Canaan that was round about us, man. All right. Making a clear distinction of who he was dealing with, man. All right. But, with that, I'm going to draw this lesson to a closing. All right. I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kudash, the honor to our apostles, great millstone, who well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. And with that, Abba, come bless Allah, Shalom.